Assignment 2. Fill in the blanks. Natural resources are broadly classified into renewable and non-renewable resources. Energy obtained from sun is called solar energy. Hydropower is generated by water. Solar energy is used by plants for photosynthesis. Paraffin wax is a byproduct of petroleum. Formation of soil by disintegration of rocks is called weathering of rocks. Plants plants release oxygen and absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The thermal energy generated and stored in the earth is called geothermal energy. Crude oil is the only non-renewable resource in fluid form. Methane is the primary component of natural gas. Answer the following. What are renewable resources? Give few examples. Renewable resources are those which are found in plenty and do not reduce in quantity when used again and again. For example, sun, air, soil, forests, and water. Write few lines about non-renewable resources with example. Non-renewable resources are natural resources that cannot be replaced after they are used. Example: rocks, minerals, metals, uranium, and fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? They are obtained from the remains of dead plants and animals buried deep inside the earth for millions of years. Oil, natural gas, and coal are collectively called fossil fuels. Mention the major types of non-renewable resources. The four major types of non-renewable resources are coal, oil, natural gas, and nuclear energy. What is a peat? The spongy material formed from the accumulation of dead plants and organisms on the ocean bed is called peat. Write short notes on soil formation. Soil is formed by the disintegration or breaking up of rocks and is called weathering of rocks. Rocks have cracks in them. When water gets into these cracks and remains there, it freezes during cold winter, forming ice. Repeated weathering breaks the rock into small grains of sand. Thus, soil is formed. Second one was coal. Coal is a solid fossil fuel which is found in fossilized swamps that have been buried beneath layers of sediment. Due to high temperature and pressure, the remains of plants and trees that are buried beneath the earth's crust do not decay completely, but instead they turn into coal under the layers of rocks. Surface mining and deep underground mining are the two basic types or methods of mining or extracting coal. Once coal has been extracted, it can be used directly for heating and industrial purposes or to fuel power plants for electricity. Petroleum. Petroleum is a liquid mineral found under the earth. Bodies or dead animals and plants are bodies of dead animals and plants are buried in the soil which gradually reach the bottom of the sea. Over a long period of time, mud and sand cover them up. The action of bacteria, heat, and pressure on the dead organisms buried under the layers of rocks gets decomposed. They generally become a black liquid, usually it is yellowish black, called petroleum. I hope all of you have done your assignments, children. Now, moving on to the next session, we have learnt about renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Now, having it summarized or trying to list out all the positive and negative points about both the resources, we can write the difference between the renewable and non-renewable resources. Children, at this stage, you are capable of listing down whatever you have learned from the previous sessions by yourself. This is just an assistance to you, just to help you how to list it down. What are the points that you need to consider? You will have to put some effort in writing down the points all by yourself. In fact, from now onwards, you will have to start making notes by yourselves. So that is the reason we have given you points, and those points have to be written in sentences, and whenever any kind of questions are being asked, you should be able to write the answers compiling all these sentences. Now, to start with, difference between renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable resource, it can be renewed as it is available in infinite quantity. Non-renewable resources, once completely consumed, it cannot be renewed due to limited stock. Sustainable by nature are renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are exhaustible in nature. Low cost and environment friendly renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are high cost and less environment friendly. Renewable resources are biodegradable and infinite in nature. Non-renewable resources are usually minerals and man-made products and finite in nature. I hope all of you have understood. Let's move on now. Now, this is just a simple activity for all of you children. Classify the following into renewable and non-renewable resources. You have been given few words here, few things are existing in the nature, in our environment. Place it accordingly. To which category does it fall? Like birds, gold, coal, water, oxygen, iron, petrol, forest, diesel, cooking gas, wild animals, solar energy. These are the words given. Classify them under renewable and non-renewable resources. Now, what to tell about our Mother Earth? She is rich with resources, isn't it? We have thoroughly enjoyed with whatever resources were available till now. Children, I don't think you even had the time or patience to segregate or classify them as renewable or non-renewable resources. But now, after listening to this chapter and understanding our nature, our environment, the resources, and their limitations, the whole idea of looking into the world will change. Okay, then, with this, I would like to um, expect you all to be responsible, to take up an oath of conserving our resources at the end of the lesson and follow them not only now but all through your life. Will you all do it? Okay, then, hoping that you have all said yes, we shall continue. The materials available on earth sustain life. The materials, when I mention, they are rocks, minerals, coal, petroleum, air, water, plants, animals, all of these. These are the gifts of nature to the human beings. Don't we feel it so? Yes. We must conserve these resources. Conservation means judicious and wise use of our resources. Now, before going into conservation of resources, we'll just have a look at the mineral resources which are available in Earth, under the Earth's surface or on Earth's crust. I mean, on the Earth's surface also sometimes. Minerals are formed in the Earth as a result of prolonged natural process. They are available along with rocks in the surface of the Earth. Minerals are extracted in the form of ore, refined in factories, and metals are separated from them. Example: separation of iron from iron ore. Now, what is an ore? It is multi-useful material available in nature. Its composition is represented by the chemical formula. All these metals which are extracted from I mean they exist as minerals in the earth, and they are extracted as ores, wherein we can use it in um, different ways as a multi-useful material. Now we'll take up each and every energy and find out how are we conserving it, and this is a lesson to everybody as to how we can preserve all our resources. See, now solar energy, we have dealt in detail about solar energy. Solar energy can be changed into electric energy and stored in panels and batteries for future usage. Now, when we do this, we are reducing our consumption of electricity, correct? So that way we are helping the environment, and we are saving our environment. Now, next comes wind energy. Wind energy can be used to generate electricity, operate windmills, draw underground water. Now, as you all know, human beings have used natural resources at a very fast rate without thinking about the consequences. We don't even think. If you just observe the traffic here, you can very well assume what is the rate of air pollution that we would be having. Correct? The amount of gadgets that you use, the kind of gadgets that we use, everything is harmful to the environment. See, the amount of air pollution that we do, we are not getting enough, I mean, pure air to breathe in also. So we don't even think of the consequences, the future result about, I mean, a result of what we are doing right now. Industrialization has caused problems of waste disposal and pollution. Now, coming on to the next resource, water. Water energy. No life is possible without water. Everyone knows about this, correct? Sources of water are rivers, ponds, lakes, and oceans. It falls on the earth as rain or snow. There is underground water under the soil which can be taken out by digging. Now, when we mention water, we'll just check out as to what are the wastages, or what are the ways that we are wasting water through. We often leave the tap while brushing teeth, taking bath, and washing clothes. Sometimes we even forget to switch off the electric motor water pump after filling the water tank, isn't it? You all recollect whatever you have done or whatever you have been doing all these days. The quantity of water, what happens if we just waste it like that? The quantity of water decreases in water reservoir. Due to this reason, crops get less water and their yield decreases. Now, how about water animals there? Water animals are also affected due to the shortage of water in rivers and lakes. Like this, we waste a lot of water every day, don't we? Wastage of water creates many problems, children. Now, let's list out the ways to minimize water wastage. Children, I hope all of you are able to understand what I'm talking about. See, every day you see it happening everywhere, especially nearby you. And maybe you might also be one of them. Water taps should not be left open unnecessarily. Children, it's your duty to stop or switch it off if it is left open unnecessarily. Water should not be wasted while taking bath. It's always better if you take bath in buckets, not the shower or what bathtubs, because they say that you don't even get a measure of how much you are using it. So if you minimize the usage now, you can enjoy it in future also. Now, there might be faulty taps and pipes, those faulty taps and pipe, if they, if they are leaking, then there's a lot of water wastage there. So faulty taps and pipes must be repaired immediately to avoid water wastage. Now, as soon as water tank is completely filled in, the electric motor should be switched off. Children, you can even keep an alarm for switching off, or keep a timing and keep an alarm so that you know when you need to switch it off. These are the few ways wherein you can control or you can minimize water wastage. Now, after dealing with water, next is forests. Forests, when we are talking about forests include plants, trees, animals in them, birds, insects, even soil for that matter. So it's all comprising of, and if we deal with this, I think we'll be handling major portion of the environment here. So in that case, the places where trees are in abundance are called forests. Forests help in soil erosion. Wood is obtained from the trees. Wood is also used as fuel and to make paper, sports items, doors, windows, furniture, and lot more things. Forests play a vital role in making the weather pleasant. They provide oxygen. Plants and trees grow in soil, which in turn provides us with at most or almost everything, that is, from food to basic necessities such as firewood, timber, food, medicines, etc. Forests are the habitats of animals, birds, and insects. But forests are being indiscriminately cut by some people. We should avoid unnecessary cutting of trees. Now, what happens when they cut trees? Deforestation. Yes, deforestation, that is cutting of trees, has led to soil erosion, loss of soil fertility, and floods. See, children, if you observe, we just think of cutting trees. Okay, if the trees are cut, that is a chain reaction which happens. So when the trees are cut, deforestation happens. Deforestation is nothing but cutting of trees. Now, if the trees are cut, that will lead to soil erosion, and if soil erosion happens, there's lot of soil loss of soil fertility, and naturally the yield of crops will lessen. And when we don't have anything to grip on or anything to hold on, then floods do happen, and we are seeing the result of it in these days. Right now, presently, you have lot of, I mean, due to heavy rains, we have lots of floods, flood scenes happening in Karnataka itself. All this is because of cutting of trees. We don't have, we have not saved our environment till now. So it's very essential, very important to see to it that we take care of our environment, especially our forests, our plants, our trees, our flora and fauna in our environment. Now, when I mentioned soil erosion, I should be telling you what is soil erosion. You would be knowing about this, but still, washing away of the topsoil by the force of wind or water is called soil erosion. Soil erosion is a naturally occurring process that affects all landforms. Soil erosion decreases soil fertility, which can reduce the yield of crops. The measures taken to avoid soil erosion are, as I said, planting trees and contour farming. Children, if you have read the news, if you are aware of what is happening around you, a lot of landslides happening, and when we get heavy rains, you see a lot of the mountains and hills just getting eroded. So these are only because, I mean, it's nothing but washing away of the topsoil, and it is because of water now, because of heavy water, I mean, heavy rainfall now. So with this, there are lots of loss of life, loss of plantations, huge loss which can never be replaced in the near future. The number of trees are also reduced when forest catches fire. With this, wild animals, birds, and insects become homeless. See, this also you might have heard about Amazon forest catching fire, and it was huge and for a long time, and the huge loss that was sustained by all the wild animals which were there, and it was uncontrollable actually. Natural environment is also destroyed due to shortage of forests. This is quite sure, and I don't think I need to explain this. So, when you have more of industries and less of forests, less of trees, less of plants, naturally it will be lessening of rainfall. When you have less of rainfall, then you have lack of yields in the crops. Then you have to grow all the crops with chemicals. And when you eat or when you consume chemically treated vegetables or fruits, then your health is affected. So it's again a chain reaction from one to other. Now, when we have spoken about so many negativities, we'll have to think of how to conserve. Okay, how to the conservation of forests. How to conserve our forests? We can conserve our forests by the following methods: restriction on unnecessary cutting of trees, planting of trees, controlling forest disasters like forest fires, floods, etc., contour farming. Children, I'll repeat. We can conserve by following these methods: restriction on unnecessary cutting of trees, planting trees. More trees should be planted to overcome the shortage, controlling forest disasters like forest fires, floods, etc. The next is contour farming. Now, what is contour farming? The other three points have been explained earlier, and you know what it is. Now, what is contour farming? Farming according to the shape of the land to prevent soil erosion is called contour farming. Contour plowing is a technique that doesn't alter or change the natural shape of field. contour plowing technique can absorb the impact of heavy rains and retain the topsoil, preventing soil erosion. Children, if you observe the pictures here, you can see that these are all hilly areas. There are lots of slopes there. So farming on a slope is very difficult as such. But farmers have adopted a technique wherein they just have these crops planted according to the land shape. So they don't change the shape of the land, but they plant accordingly. And this, in fact, prevents soil erosion because it holds lot of water, and it can hold the impact of heavy rains also. Now, forests should be protected from fire. As I mentioned the example of Amazon forest just in the previous slide, it has to be protected, and we have to take utmost care while going on camping to forests. It might be a recreation for you, but you'll have to take care of not using any fire products, or I mean, you should not lit any I mean, light any fire or have a campfire in the forest, so that might have a negative impact later. Instead of burning wood, natural gas and kerosene may be used. And this can be done through uh, a long way of pipes being introduced, installed, and in other countries and some parts of India also, they have these natural gas pipelines being installed into the houses, residential homes, wherein they have it used. But in India, it's not very much prevalent because we have been using this LPG cylinders, and preferably, I mean, it's always better to use those kind of pipelines because it is safe when we consider residential homes. Now, there have been lots of movements against deforestation. All over India, we have taken it very seriously, and since a long time, they have been struggling to stop this process of deforestation and trying. There are people who have been trying to protect our environment. Many movements are undertaken against deforestation. They are: Chipko movement was started by Sundarlal Bahuguna, who opposed the cutting of trees in Himalayan region. Chipko movement, which is also called as Hug the Tree movement, uh, I mean, is very famous, and it was very successful when it was actually implemented. Apico movement is of a similar kind and was initiated by Panduraya Hegde to prevent deforestation in Western Ghats in southwest India. There was another movement called Silent Valley Movement. Environmentalists of Kerala successfully stopped a hydroelectric power scheme proposed by the government in Silent Valley. Another one, Save Forests or Jungle Bachao movement, was started in Bihar for the conservation of forests. Children, these are just informations which you need to know, and uh, this is just general knowledge that everyone has to know as Indians. Uh, we need to know what is happening around us to conserve our resources. Now, when I'm talking about environment and environmentalists or movements happening for conservation of our forests or our environment, I would not be doing justice if I don't mention Salu Marada Timmaka. Children, you have all learnt about this lady in your previous classes. Salu Marada Timmaka or Alada Marada Timmaka or Vrikshamate is an Indian environmentalist from the state of Karnataka, noted for her work in planting and tending to 385 banyan trees along a 4-kilometer stretch of highway between Hulikal and Kudur. She has also planted nearly 8,000 other trees. Her work has been honored with the National Citizens Award of India. Her work was recognized by the Government of India and she was conferred with Padma Shri in 2019. Salumarada Timmaka is a role model for all of us in the conservation of environment. Her concern towards environment is remarkable and it should be followed by all of us. Children, it is not just Salumarada Timmaka. There are a lot of other people who have contributed to the conservation of our environment. Now, to summarize, we can start by using less amount of electricity and water or using it only when it is required. The lesser the consumption, the lesser the pressure on the coming generation. This has to be the motto, or this has to be the thought process while using any kind of resources from the environment. It is also essential to turn off the vehicles while standing in the signal, and lastly, if possible, try to switch to electric vehicles that are environment friendly. So just by following these small steps, we can make a huge difference in protecting our environment. Children, natural resources are a treasure which we have got. As I said in the beginning of the session, they are the gifts of nature to us. We human beings have to conserve it, treasure it, and we have to safeguard, or we have to minimize whatever hazardous reactions that are happening, or if we are not able to conserve this, it would lead to a hazardous end. We should take measures to conserve our natural resources. And I with this I hope all of you have understood the importance of natural resources and take an oath to conserve our natural resources, save our environment in whatever way you could do. Now for the points to remember. Conservation means judicious and wise use of our resources. Minerals are extracted in the form of ores. Ways to minimize water wastage. Water taps should not be left open unnecessarily. That is the first one. Second, water should not be wasted while taking bath. Third, faulty taps and pipes must be repaired. The electric motor should be switched off as soon as the water tank is completely filled. Children, you can add few more points if you come across or if you want to. Deforestation is nothing but cutting of trees, which further leads to soil erosion, loss of soil fertility, and floods. Washing away of the topsoil by the force of wind or water is called soil erosion. The measures taken to avoid soil erosion are planting trees, contour forming. Methods followed to conserve our forests: restriction on unnecessary cutting of trees, planting of trees, controlling forest disasters like forest fires and floods, etc., contour forming. Farming according to shape of the land to prevent soil erosion is called contour farming. Names of movements against deforestation are Chipko movement, Apico movement, Silent Valley movement, Save Forests or Jungle Bachao movement. Children, I hope all of you have understood. This ends the chapter Natural Resources. Now it's time for assignment. Assignment 3. Fill in the blanks. You have 5 fill in the blanks to complete. Second main, answer the following in one sentence. What do you mean by conservation? Define contour farming. What is soil erosion? All have to be written in one sentence. Third main, answer the following in 2 to 3 sentences. Children, try to write about deforestation in your own words. Mention the ways to minimize the water wastage. List out the methods used to conserve forests. I hope you have all listed down, children. One more point to be noted, children. All these questions can be answered from the points to remember. Almost everything is being explained which goes in as a notes for you. Now, activity 3. Hoping that you have completed those 2 activities in, I think it was the second session which we gave. One was with by using solar energy, and the other one was an example for wind energy. Now, this is an example for another type of energy. Try organic farming at home. Children, it's really fun and it really feels great when you grow crops at home. By using vegetable and fruit peels, try to grow herbs or plants like coriander, green chilies, fenugreek or methi, aloe vera, cucumber, tomatoes, tulsi, capsicum, and many more in your balconies. Any one of them you can start trying. You can even when you can start with one and see if it grows. You can even try it in your balconies or terrace, wherever there is space, and your mother will be very happy if you provide such herbs for her kitchen. And you will also be able to have a healthy food prepared. And with this, I have a question for you. Can you tell me as to what energy did you generate there by using vegetable and fruit peels? This is a task for you. And there's an announcement which I need to make now. Unit test pertaining to natural resources chapter will be held on 19th August, that is on Wednesday. Since we have the next coming session as unit test, I will not be getting any session to give you the solutions for the activities or the assignment as such. Activity, I'll give you the solution when I give you the answers for the test paper. But for the assignments, children, I want you to write down all the questions and answers to the questions, whatever is being given, all by yourself, and check the answers, because I will be giving you the answers right now in this session itself, because I want you to prepare well for the unit test. And since we are not getting any immediate class after this, the next session itself is unit test. So I want you to refer to the answers from the solutions given here and then study well. Now going on to the answers or solutions for assignment 3. Minerals are extracted in the form of ores. Planting trees and contour farming help in preventing soil erosion. Petroleum is the liquid mineral found under the earth. Natural gas is found along with petroleum in petroleum wells. Cooking gas used at homes is also known as LPG or liquid petroleum gas. Children, I want you to write it first all by yourself and then refer this. Check whether your answers are right. Answer the following in one sentence. What do you mean by conservation? Conservation means judicious and wise use of our resources. Define contour farming. Farming according to the shape of the land to prevent soil erosion is called contour farming. What is soil erosion? Washing away of the topsoil by the force of wind and water is called soil erosion. Answer the following in 2 to 3 sentences. Write about deforestation in your own words. Deforestation is nothing but cutting off trees, which further leads to soil erosion, loss of soil fertility, and floods. With soil erosion, the topsoil is lost and hence there is less yield of crops. When crops are not grown sufficiently, they are chemically treated or artificially grown to satisfy our needs, which will affect our health. Children, for this question, you can answer in your own words. Mention the ways to minimize water wastage. The different ways to minimize water wastage are: water taps should not be left open unnecessarily. Water should not be wasted while taking bath. Faulty taps and pipes must be repaired. The electric motor should be switched off as soon as the water tank is completely filled. Now for the third question, list out the methods used to conserve forests. The methods followed to conserve the forests are: restriction on unnecessary cutting of trees, planting of trees, controlling forest disasters like forest fires and floods, contour farming. Children, I hope all of you have checked your answers properly. If there are any mistakes, correct them and learn properly. This completes this chapter.